Huntsville, another wonderful good morning to you. Thanks for waking up with us. What do you love about Huntsville? What makes this a great place to be?
Everyone here is very genuine and very kind and friendly. You never hesitate to speak up and say hello or good morning or just acknowledge the person walking by.
The thing that I love most about Huntsville, I love the peace that Huntsville brings. I love the peace that it gives me.
I feel accepted and part of the town and like I belong here.
Huntsville is where my lovely wife lived when I met her, so I moved here. So I'm pretty thankful for her.
Starting to pick up.
Yep. Well, that'll be great on live, on a podcast.
Hey, we may lose one of these canopies. There it goes.
Oh, boy.
I knew that was going to happen.
We're bucking for you in Huntsville, Texas.
Yeah, you're live, Irma. Welcome. What's up, Irma? How you doing? We got you. Hey, we're tapped into your computer there too, where you work. We can actually see you on video. I hacked your computer. So beautiful earrings today, Irma. You're always beautiful. Very nice.
You're so silly.
All right, friends, here we go. Welcome in on another edition of Good Morning Huntsville, and we want to welcome you in. Karen Denman here. Hey, you're like the DJ today.
Yay.
Yeah, you're the DJ. We were
Play
at
some tunes.
Yeah, let's jam. Why don't we go ahead and just get, what is it, trivia night? Let's just get it started tonight.
Yeah, we can do that.
We can get it started, or this morning, rather. See, everybody gets to see behind the scenes what I'm doing here this morning. You notice I'm not dressed up fancy like you, Karen. I'm just kind of super cash today.
Yeah.
But you're always like business ready. You're ready to roll.
Well, because I have to work.
Yeah.
So there's that.
You can't ever just like close your door and just hide and do work back there.
I wish.
I
wish.
Your door's always open.
They'll find me.
Well, here's a little behind the scenes look. If you ever notice on the show, I'm always reaching around here and like manipulating wires and everything. Well, I came up with an idea because I got tired of this wire. So what do you call these little clips?
It's a binder clip.
Binder clip. That's it. Yeah. See, that's why I got you on. I should know I just knew it was a clip. Here's a little secret I found. I take this wire right here, Karen, and I just clip that on my shirt. And then all of a sudden, boom, now I'm not reaching around adjusting wires all the time.
Multi-purpose.
Or if I keep eating hamburgers, then the wire will just stick back there,
right.
know? So, well, friends, we want to welcome you in. Thanks for being here on a Monday. As always, a privilege to be able to bring you this show every single Monday. We are here, and Good Morning Huntsville. Let us know that you're out there this morning, and we would appreciate that. A lot of friends already chiming in. We're going to get to those as we continue on here in just a few moments. We are here, though. Our studio brought to you by our good friend Elliot Herzlich of Elliot's Jewelers. Also, a big thank you to Paul Oley of the Gallery. And, of course, on a Monday, we would not be here without the wonderful Miss Karen Denman and Walker County Federal Credit Union. So appreciate y'all very much, as always.
Absolutely. Glad to be here.
Mondays are kind of, you and I talk off mic, and Mondays are kind of, I think everybody's in that same mindset of like, it's Monday and it's a new week. But I'll tell you one thing that I really enjoy is I do enjoy Mondays here sitting with you because it's kind of like a good start to the week.
Yeah, that's true.
Because I get up on Monday, I'm like, man, it's another week. And I'm thankful for what I get to do. But you know how it is. Like, you just got through having a great, and you get to, have the pool party all weekend.
Oh, yes. Yes, we did that too.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's like, I know you want to extend the pool party on a Monday.
I do. I do.
So we're going to figure out, we're going to work with state legislature and maybe the federal government. Karen's going to be running for federal office. You heard it here first on Good Morning Huntsville, and future president of the United States. And we're going to enforce a mandatory everybody off on Monday day.
I think so. I think we should just go to 3-day weeks and maybe just work from 10 to 2 with 1 hour for lunch. That ought to be all right. That ought to cover it.
You know what's funny is I think some people actually do that anyways.
Must be nice.
Yeah, it's funny. There was a place I used to work at, and it was always a lot of fun because this gentleman he'd always come in late because they were like super super relaxed, and it wasn't like this. It was like a shipping business. All right, so it wasn't this critical, you got to be here. There was never any appointments, nothing like that. And it was a pretty laid back place, but I think sometimes when you work in like a really laid back place, some people take advantage of it. This was back at Georgetown. So, really took advantage. Would come in, supposed to be there, let's say 8 o'clock, would show up about 8:45. Then would leave and go get breakfast tacos after he got there. Would come back and then, just kind of mosey around. Sometimes maybe a little bit of napping in the back corner. Stuff would get put out, and then at noon, it'd usually be like a 2-hour lunch.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
That sounds like a great idea.
but then take like 2 hours for lunch, right?
Yeah.
But then come back with lunch. So it's like you went for what did you do for 2 hours? Come back, and then shut it down at 5 o'clock. It was like 4:45, 4:30. Everybody was leaving.
I think that sounds like a great day.
Needless to say, that business didn't last long, and it's not around anymore. But it was still, good fun many years ago. So, but anyways, we don't have that luxury, and if we did, we probably wouldn't be sitting here because we probably wouldn't have jobs if we did work in a place like that.
Right. We have the same conversation every morning. I walk in, and he says, "Hey, Karen, how are you?" And I said, "Well, Rob, it's Monday."
Yeah.
He says, "Yeah, I know. I hear you."
And then after that, we get going, and it's like, hey, here we go.
And then it's okay.
And then it's all smiles and joy. So, one thing I want to encourage folks on this show, we always want to lift you up and encourage you. And so, maybe you had a rough weekend. And, I want to go and just take a somber moment this morning. I don't say this in a negative way, but 22 years ago now, which is unbelievable, 22 years ago, there's over 3,000 people that literally had the last meal, the last time that they ever spent with their families. Nobody would have known 22 years ago the events that were to happen literally around this time 22 years ago. And so this morning, we just want to thank all the first responders, everyone that's involved in police, EMTs, firefighters. You go across the board, our medical workers, even doctors, even the folks that didn't have to show up to the tragic events that happened in New York City, and also at the Pentagon and there in Pennsylvania these 22 years ago. But even the doctors at the hospitals that had to intake people and deal with just one of the worst events that has ever happened in our nation's history, at least in my generation. And so I just want to take this moment and let's do a little 30-second moment of silence, if that's okay, Karen. And so for those of you that are listening this morning, maybe you're on the Spirit Radio app or maybe you're on the video, when we take this moment of silence, just whatever you feel like your heart's leading you to do, we're going to take a quick 30 seconds here this morning and honor those folks and everyone who was involved in those events, again, 22 years ago. We take a brief 30-second break, but you think about the moments that happened just in an instant, and it seemed like, Karen, I go back to that day, and, I was a senior in high school, but I remember vividly every single moment of that day. And it was weird. I was talking to Lisa Branch at Learning RX about this one day, and I said, and she's helping me and helping me with my long-term memory. I thought long-term memory was like stuff from 5 years, or from a day ago. She's like, no, after a minute it goes into your long-term memory. There's our good friend Rick driving by this morning, Rick Boning at Tomorrow's Promise. But I think it's so weird because I was telling Lisa, I said, why can I remember every moment of that day? And she said, because it was a major event that's imprinted in your mind forever. And she's right. I remember that morning. I remember how I got to school. I remember being in marketing class. I remember Diane Wettig coming up and saying, hey, did you guys hear about the plane this morning? Yeah, we heard about it. We thought when I think of a plane hitting a building, I think of a small Cessna.
Right.
And that it happened before at the World Trade Center. There was fog one time and a small plane ran into the world. Now, of course, in '93 there was a bombing there in the garage that happened with the Unabomber, but this was something totally different. So I'm thinking, the news. We didn't have smartphones like we do now. We didn't have social media. I mean, MySpace was out there, but other than that, Facebook wasn't really a big thing yet, and news didn't travel. I mean, it traveled fast, but it sure doesn't travel as fast as it does now. And I'll just never forget Miss Wettig coming up and telling us, hey, there's something that happened in the World Trade. And then we're in the middle of class, and all of a sudden a TV comes rolling into the room, old school on a cart. And it was it was not a flat panel TV. Didn't have them. I mean, they were there, but they weren't readily available. It was an old tube TV it sounds like from going back to like 1920, but literally like a tube TV. They roll in this CRT TV and put it on. And I just remember everyone was just quiet. It was so weird to be around such energetic high school young people. It's normally everybody's laughing and talking. And I remember that coming on, and we were all quiet. And we're like, man, what is going on? And then I remember throughout the day, even some parents came and got their kids from school that day, even though we weren't in New York or those areas. But the school said, hey, if you want to come get your children, come get them. And I remember that night. Throughout the day, I went to another class. I was in economics class, went there, and that's all we did the rest of the day was everyone stayed glued to the televisions. And before this, Karen, there wasn't the ticker that you see on the bottom. You see it now. The ticker on the bottom of news channels only came on during serious events. And Fox News, CNN, all of them, if you'll notice now, that ticker never goes away. It's always on the screen. That started because of 9/11. People wanted to know, and they wanted to stay up to date with what was happening. And the weirdest thing about all of this was that night, I was dating a young lady at the time, and I remember going out to eat with her family, and it almost didn't even seem right that we were going out to eat.
Right.
Felt
guilty.
Felt guilty about as a senior in high school, felt guilty about going out to eat. But we had decided, hey, we'd already planned on this, and so we went to eat, and the restaurant was dead silent. And this was at a Chewy's in Round Rock, Texas, where normally everybody's talking and you hear music. Dead silence in the restaurant.
Wow.
And I'll just never forget the moments of that day. And and just thank goodness that we have so many great people that serve our country. I know I said the first responders earlier, but also all of our military folks. I think it was the highest influx of people. And Tara was chiming in earlier over at Hart's Veterans Museum. I heard just the other day on the radio that, on streaming audio that I listened to, that there was more of an influx of people joining the military after those events than we'd ever seen in quite some time. So I'm sure you can imagine. I mean, where you were at that day too, Karen.
Oh yes, I remember. And then when the second airplane hit, I was at work at the credit union, and we were all speechless.
Yeah, it's just, and what's so weird, and I'll say this, and I don't know how much this resonates with other people, but every day literally at some point every single day since that event, it pops into my mind. And here we are 22 years later, and I can say almost every single day, a thought of that day pops into my mind for some reason. And so maybe today that's the message for you, is just, hold your family close. Hold them tight. We always want to lift people up on this show, so it's definitely not, I'm not trying to bring people down this morning, but I think it's important that we acknowledge these events. But hold your family tight. Love your kids. Hug on them. Tell them you love them. Because you just don't know what the next day, you don't even know what the next minute's going to hold in your life. And so don't take that for granted. How many times in life, Karen, have you been to a funeral service or at the viewing or whatever they call it? I know different faiths call it different things. We always call it a viewing or the visitation.
Yes.
How many times have you been at the visitation or the viewing and somebody said, I just wish that I would have talked to him one more time?
Right. You hear that often.
Now, on the flip side, I've been to ones where it says, I just talked to him last night.
Right.
And those people seem like, it's tragic that someone lost their life that quick. But the people that said, I just talked to him last night, seems like they have much more joy than the guy that says, man, I hadn't talked to him in 5 years. friends, we live in a world nowadays. It's a blessing in many, many ways. In some ways, it's a curse, but I choose to look at the blessing from these devices because we can pick up these little flat, what is this, centimeter thick device, not half an inch, probably 3/4 of an inch thick device. We can pick these things up and we can talk to anybody around the world.
Yeah. And you used to have to write a letter.
You used to have to write a letter.
Or dial the rotary phone or the old phone with a cord hanging out of it. Yeah.
Karen, you weren't with the cord yet, I don't think, but but I know what you're saying, but it's the truth though. Pick this up and call somebody that you haven't talked to. Maybe there's somebody on your mind this morning that you said, I need to pick up the phone and talk to this person. I haven't talked to him in a long time. Pick up the phone and call them, friends, because you're not guaranteed tomorrow. A lot of friends chiming in this morning, and so I just wanted to acknowledge our friends that are chiming in before we get going. Our good Clay Talsworth just drove by a while ago. I saw the 0 degree truck. He didn't honk, though, but I saw him drive by. He's chiming in saying, good morning, Huntsville. Someone here from the Lost Picture Show. Do you know who that is?
I don't.
The Lost Picture Show. I like to, I'm finally up for one of these. Awesome. So somebody has woke up in the morning and joined us.
Well, thank you. And on a Monday at that.
Yeah, we appreciate that. Again, we want to know where you're listening from this morning. Something else that this person, the Lost Picture Show, had brought up, and I was going to mention it. My goodness, this morning, 68 degrees, Karen Denman. Can you believe that? Got up this morning, 68 degrees, humidity pretty high as it always is here, but calm winds. The fall 2 weeks ago had came in, and then all of a sudden it was like, nope, not ready yet. And then it was hot again in the mornings. But this morning started out beautiful.
Yeah. We need a beautiful day.
I was going to put a sign on the door, Karen, that says, I'm not here, Karen, sorry. It was literally, I was going to write, I'm not here, Karen, sorry, went for a walk. And
Okay.
then we were just not going to have the show this morning because it was so nice outside.
If you decide to do that, text me before I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Our good friend Bill Doggett joining us too, County Commissioner, saying let's have a great week. Rick Boning from Tomorrow's Promise, who drove by a while ago, saying that. And I love this too. This is why we have Walker County Federal Credit Union here on a Monday. Chris Brown said, this just reminded me to go open an account with Karen.
Awesome. Yes, Chris, you need to do that.
Yes, get over there, go open up an account. And Chris, tell him you heard about it here on Good Morning Huntsville. But Chris owns Jump Around Moonwalks here in town. We had Chris on. I don't know if you had a chance to listen to that episode or not, Karen, but just an inspirational story, sharing his journey. So he was on last week. Appreciate that. Also, Tammy joining us as always, saying good morning, Rob and Miss Karen. I like that, Miss Karen. Good morning, Miss Karen.
And Tammy Farkas?
No, this is Tammy Trotter, who's been a part of our show since we started. Yeah, she's chiming in. Jamie Saucier this morning saying, you know what, I'm thankful for a loving family. Think about that. There's some folks, and this is why it's so important too, that when you cross paths with somebody, think about the next person. Because I'm being serious this morning. I'm not trying to, make this a deep show this morning, but, there's some people that don't have loving families.
That's true.
Many, even me, I take it for granted. Like Bridget's family, my dad always, to this day, always says, I love you when I hang up the phone with him. He never once has not said, I love you, son. Mm-hmm. And that made a profound impact on my life. But friends, there are people out there this morning that no one in their families ever told them they loved them. There's some families that people are, and I don't say it in a negative way, that are nervous about telling their other people in their family they love them. It's like this weird word. It's like when guys get together, and maybe it's because of the way my dad raised me, Karen, but it's like when guys all get together, none of the guys want, hey, man, I love you, man. I tell guys that all the time, like, hey, buddy, I love you.
Yeah.
Robert Lindemann, I talk to Robert tells me the same thing.
Yep.
Every time Robert and I meet up, half the time we'll say a prayer, and then he's, I love you, man. He gives me a hug, and people need that, you know?
Yes, most definitely.
And Huntsville's one of these places to where literally you can give someone a hug and tell them you love them, and they're not going to be like, whoa, man, what are you...
Weirdo?
Yeah, just kind of like... Because think about it, and I'm talking about like a stranger. People in town are like, hey, we love you, thanks for coming out. And I'm like, whoa, man, some places, if you tell a complete stranger you love them, they're like, whoa, wait a minute.
Yeah, get back.
I still have a friend. It's so funny, Karen. I have a friend, Brian Adams, perfect example. I talk to Brian probably 3 times a week, and every time we talk, you think about Brian Adams, big, tough guy, love Brian to pieces, man. You'd never think Brian would be a guy. Not saying it negative, Brian, because I love you, man. But every time Brian and I talk, he goes, hey, man, I love you. You know, that's so cool to have those
It
type of
is.
friends.
Yeah.
And there's a friend that I've had my entire life, and I give him so much credit just for my faith. You know, he was that guy that you always have that one person in your life that you feel like I kind of got to be on my best behavior. You know, I don't even want to joke about anything that's even remotely questionable because I respect this person so much. And you know, and I told him one time, I said, man, if I ever hear a bad word come out of your mouth, man, it's going to be bad. I said, I'm going to just, for everything that I've worked my life off trying to hold true to my heart, it's going to just go out the window. And he's that kind of guy. And it's funny, though, because I always tell him, and to this day, I always say, I love you. And he never says it back. And it's not like, it's just a weird thing for him. And my cousin is the same. I always tell my cousin, hey, I love you. And he never says it back.
Yeah. Some people are just funny about that.
Oh, it's good. It's good stuff, though. And it's funny because it's on my dad's side of the family. My dad is the one who always says, like, I'll tell one of my uncles, I love you. And like, my Uncle Elwin always says it back. My aunts always say it back, but I have another uncle, I'll tell it, and he doesn't know how to respond to it. I'm like, hey, I love you, Uncle. He goes, okay, bye. He goes, okay, bye. Okay, bye. It's like, whoa, wait a minute. So anyway, you know, don't weird people out. Maybe somebody doesn't like that, but you know what I'm saying this morning. More folks joining in. Let's go to this comment from Tara here from the Hearts Veterans Museum. She said, good morning, Rob and Karen. We will be having a 9/11 remembrance at our flagpole at the museum at 10 a.m. So a very important event this morning for folks. If you'd like to go out to Hearts Veteran Museum, 10 a.m. this morning, as they are going to honor the lives lost and the families left behind. She also said, I also remember 9/12 and how our country came together. There's more on that comment where she said, patriotism and pride in our country swelled beyond capacity that day, and I wish that our country would get back to that. You know, I thought about that too, Tara, and I'm so glad you brought that up. And Karen, I know you can echo this statement, but all politics, all other things that day and for the days following were put aside. President Bush had an enormous approval rating, like 92%, because the country was like, we're done with this left and right and this Democrat-Republican thing. Let's just come together.
Right.
And whenever Bush stood there in front of the towers that had fallen in the rubble, and I remember him having that megaphone, and he said, one of the guys in the background said, I can't hear you. And it was one of his most famous, and it just popped into his head, and he's like, I can hear you, and the people who brought down these buildings will be hearing from all of us soon. And that was like his iconic state. You know, every president has kind of theirs. That was his. And I just remember like this sense of pride living in America, saying, you know what? We're not going to put up with this. And nowadays, and I hate to say this, Karen, but it almost seems like it takes, I don't want to say it's going to take because I don't want it to happen. And I've talked to friends about this. It feels like that it takes
something tragic,
something horribly tragic to bring people together. Not even just this, but to bring people together. Going back to like being at a funeral service. How many times have you been in a service? There's people that you didn't want to talk to because there may have been a conflict, but then you're at the service and you're like, well, this isn't the time or the place to not want to talk to this person.
Right.
I need to talk to him.
Then you think, did all that,
Did it
whatever we were
matter?
fussing about, did it really even matter in the big
Yeah.
scheme of things? Right.
So think about that this morning. I think it's a lesson for all of us, including myself, anybody out there. You know, we do use events that happen in life, and we need to use events that happen in life to better ourselves as a people collectively together. We need to sit back and reevaluate. And we get into this mundane Monday. You know, it's like,
I liked Mimosa Monday better.
yeah, I like Mimosa Monday better. You're right. You know, we get into this rhythm, though, of like, here's our world, and here's what's encompassed in our world. And is our world really like, is what we're dealing with in the grand scheme of things really, is it, are we lifting people up or are we pulling people down? Are we getting better or are we staying bitter? And I think about those things every day. And you know what? The more that we talk about it, I think the better we'll get. Because if you don't talk about it, you don't think about it.
That's true.
It's like a friend of mine said. He runs Oak Ridge Disciple House. It's a Christian character building ministry that helps men with drug and alcohol addictions. And he said, don't talk about it, be about it. And because that one little phrase, Karen, that he said months ago to me, like every day, that's another. I'll be saying something and I'm like, you know what? I need to quit talking about it and go be about it. So thanks, Josh. I got to be careful with what I say now, because if I go say, hey, I'm going to go build a boat, then I better go build a boat.
Be a man of your word.
So appreciate those good comments. More folks joining in today. Wanted to chime in here. Clay was saying, he was going back looking at this day. He said, I was stationed at Fort Benning and it changed my entire career.
Wow.
Careers changed. Lives obviously changed, but careers changed. Rick Boning, who drove by a while ago, says, I was packing to fly home from Detroit. Boy, it took him 2 weeks to get home. Of course, they grounded everything. Mm-hmm. So I did not know that, Rick. Rick was out of the area. Clay earlier saying, tomorrow's not guaranteed. Brittany Wright chiming in this morning. Good morning to you, Brittany. A good friend of mine back in the Central Texas area, Richard De La Vega, saying good morning, brother. Good to hear from you. Santa George. Santa, I did get your pictures, by the way, man. Sorry I didn't respond to you. He was cooking, I think it was like a big either pork loin or brisket the other day, and he texted it to me. I said, brother, that looks good, man. You need to bring some of that over here. So,
he didn't invite you over?
No, he didn't invite me. Maybe he did.
What's up with that, Santa?
Yeah. So Amanda Summers chiming in as well, saying, good morning, Rob and Karen. Kinsey and I are watching in the school drop-off line. I mean, so many other comments coming in, and I want to get to all of these because I want to, everybody, I want them to be able to share their thoughts this morning. George Pitts was saying thankful, the Santa George saying thankful for our freedom and the men and women that protect our way of life. Quentin Williams chiming in this morning. Music Man saying, good morning, Huntsville. I'm thankful for the things of being as well as they are. My sister this morning saying, good morning, Huntsville. Appreciate you. Love you, sis. Lisa Branch over at Learning RX was chiming in, saying, good morning. Emotional memory is like a picture imprinted on your brain. And that's the word that I was looking for when I was talking earlier. Like, why do I remember that? Because it's an emotional memory. You think about those things. So here's the thing, Lisa, I know I'm working with her over at Learning RX to help my memory. So if there's something that I cannot forget, would taking a hammer to my finger, would I remember it?
I think you'd remember that.
It would turn into an emotional memory. I'm not telling folks to go start beating their fingers with a hammer. Oh, man. Lisa and Tara were kind of chatting back and forth. Bill Doggett had a comment coming in too, Karen. He said, I wonder what our response as a nation would be today. I mean, this is deep. Think about this. Would we come together, or would our very divided country look for ways to blame the other side? It's a shame that I have to consider that. But you're right, Bill. And I think the more, though, that we talk about coming together as a people, I think the more that we bring that up and we talk, especially with our young people. I was thinking this morning, Karen, when you and I were talking off camera, and I was joking around, and I said, there's young people now that are of the legal drinking age that they had no recollection. It didn't happen. It happened before they were born. And how are our young people? How are we as adults talking to our young people? I think it's important that we sit down with them and we tell them the history. All of us have vivid memories if we were alive and, not 2 or 3 years old. I mean, you talk to kids that are 8, 9 years old, remember that day. So for the most part, most of us have vivid memories. Are we talking to our children about how we responded to that day? And I think, Bill, that's such a good point that you brought up, because we do need to consider how are we going to respond? Are we going to come together, or are we going to find ways to continue to be divided?
Most definitely.
Russell Humphrey chiming in saying, let's go Huntsville. And Lisa did not like my idea about hitting my hand with a hammer. But it would work, Lisa, would it not? I mean, let's be honest. It would work, I believe. So, Well, I just wanted to kind of open the segment with that this morning and let everybody know, and just continue to share your thoughts as we kind of look back today and we reflect on our country and all the things that we have here in the United States. For now, though, we're going to step aside. We're going to take a break. Have a lot more to come here. Let us know what you're thankful for as you're waking up with us here on a Monday. We don't have, well, you know what? We are. I'm going to come up with a keyword here in a little bit during one of these breaks. I've got a $25 gift card that we're going to be giving away, just good as cash. So, you know what? Those gifts. Let me say this. I know I'm kind of all over the place, Karen, but a thought just popped into my head, and if I don't say it, I'm going to forget about it. I would much rather receive $25 Visa gift card than I would $25 to Starbucks, only because I want to choose what I do with that. Do you like getting cash gift cards or gift cards specifically to a place?
I'm good with either one, really.
You just like whatever you got, man. So we're going to be giving away $25 cash today. We'll have the keyword coming up, so stay with us. Stay joined in, and you'll find out how you can be a part of that. For now, though, we'll step aside. Got a quick news break for you, and then we will play some of our other spots. Stay with us. A lot more happening here. It's your show, as always. Good Morning Huntsville on a Monday, brought to you by Walker County Federal Credit Union.
USA News, I'm Lance Pry. Today is Patriot Day. 22 years ago, the terrorist attacks on America took place. Kilauea, one of the most active volcanoes in the world, began erupting yesterday after a 2-month pause. The volcano is in a national park on the Big Island. The Hawaii Volcano Observatory said the eruption was observed in the afternoon at the summit of Kilauea. The observatory reported gases released by the eruption will cause volcanic smog downwind from Kilauea. The alert level was raised to warning status, and the aviation color code went to red as scientists evaluate what's up. South Korean media is reporting a North Korean train, presumably carrying North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, has departed for Russia for a possible meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin. Citing unidentified South Korean government sources, the newspaper reported that the train likely departed the North Korean capital of Pyongyang Sunday, and that Kim-Putin meeting was possible as early as tomorrow. Hurricane Lee is back up to a Category 3 storm and is expected to intensify slowly as it spins west-northwest in the tropical Atlantic. The powerful hurricane is forecast to stay well north of the Leeward Islands, Virgin Islands, and Puerto Rico. It will gradually strengthen today, according to the National Hurricane Center. The Forecast Center also said yesterday it remains too soon to know where it will hit land, if at all. Where the storm turns northward sometime in the middle of this week will be a crucial factor in determining where it will go. A newly found comet is roaring through our cosmic neighborhood for the first time in more than 400 years. The comet, roughly 1/2 mile in diameter, will sweep safely past Earth tomorrow, passing within 78 million miles. You'll want to look toward the northeastern horizon about 90 minutes before sunrise near the constellation Leo. USA News.
Now your ideas don't have to wait. Now they have everything they need to come to life. Dell Technologies and Intel are creating technology that loves ideas, loves expanding your business, evolving your passions. We push what technology can do, so great ideas can happen right now. Find out how to bring your ideas to life at Dell.com. Welcome to Now.
All right, team. Apps on the table by 7:30 sharp.
Jalen and his catering company have a lot on their plate.
Really particular.
He needs a bigger team to continue climbing up the food chain.
Got this event. Hey, Mitch, was that a contract for 200 or 250 people?
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Our hiring platform instantly connects you with quality candidates, and you can schedule and conduct virtual interviews right from the Indeed dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
This is Guardian Defense in Huntsville, Texas, a trusted, family-owned and operated gun store and range in the heart of East Texas. Guardian Defense is your one-stop destination for Texas LTC, NRA basic pistol and rifle courses, pistol refresher training, as well as a wide selection of quality firearms and ammunition. At Guardian Defense, empowerment is within reach through their Texas DPS-approved license to carry classes. Certified instructors will guide you through every facet of firearm safety, conflict resolution, and the pertinent legal aspects. Book now to become proficient and responsible in handling a firearm with complete confidence. For the eager learners, the fundamentals of pistol and rifle usage await discovery in their comprehensive 8-hour NRA basic courses. You're invited to connect with Guardian Defense on Facebook and Instagram, or give them a call at 936-293-0364. You can also visit them online at GuardianDefenseLLC.com. Guardian Defense, your reliable partner in mastering firearm safety and acquiring quality firearms in the heart of Texas.
When you live and work in the town where you were born and raised, lots of people become just like family. I'm Billy Cawthon, manager of Sam Houston Memorial Funeral Home. Over the years, we've shared a lot of good times and some tough times, and I'm honored to be the one you call on in your time of need. At Sam Houston Memorial Funeral Home, our goal is to help our neighbors in need and always provide the most outstanding service available, even on those really tough days. I thank you for your trust in us. At Sam Houston Memorial Funeral Home, we're here for you.
All right, friends, welcome back at it as we continue on here. Good morning, Huntsville. Thanks for joining us on a magnificent Monday. I know as we look back and reflect today, kind of a special episode here as we remember the events that happened to our country 22 years ago, honoring all of those and the first responders and so many others that have just been so instrumental to many of us, to all of us actually, and someone that's great to be here this morning, Denise Olivas.
Good morning.
What's going on?
It's Monday.
I love it. Hey, you know what?
Mimosa Monday.
Mimosa Monday. I'm sorry.
We thought that you were bringing them this morning, and they didn't show up.
We thought that's why you were late, because you were getting mimosas.
You know what? I was going to get breakfast at Sandra's, and they're closed, and I was really upset.
They're recognizing the 9/11 holiday, which we forgot to do that.
I didn't realize, too, that, of course, and I heard it there on USA Radio News, and I'm so glad that we played. I know we asked last week, we did a poll, and we said, did you like that or not? Lisa Branch, I don't think she liked it, but maybe this morning she did, Lisa. We love you. But the resounding response was yes. Probably like 90% of the people said they liked hearing a little bit of the national news on the show this morning. And so, we don't dig into too much of that. We want to make sure that we keep this heavily focused on our community as much as possible. But I've already learned so much just playing. Like, I had no idea that there was a Hurricane Lee out there. I forgot that today, obviously we knew it was the 9/11, you go back the anniversary. But I forgot that this is also, they call it Patriots Day. And that was something that the federal government had enacted, years ago. And so today, obviously known as Patriots Day as well. And we were talking, not just because, everybody wants a day off, especially on a day like today, but it's surprising that this is not recognized as one of those like federal holidays now. Just to think about,
Yeah.
Like we have Memorial Day and Labor Day,
President's Day, Veterans Day.
Yeah, but it's like Patriots Day, we have it, but is it nationally recognized as one of those federal holidays? Obviously it's not, because if it was, y'all wouldn't be here.
We would
You're
be
absolutely right. We would be at the pool.
Speaking of which, I missed y'all. I really missed y'all last week. We had to do a little throwback episode, and we had our friends from CASA. We replayed an episode. I missed y'all last Monday. So, see, I still had to work. I still had to run the dials. Y'all just got to hang out. Did y'all have an extended pool day, by the way?
We absolutely did.
We did.
So when you're off on Mondays, do you just can you just sleep poolside and then just wake right back up at the pool, or do you actually have to go back in?
I think that needs to be the next Cabana update, is to have some
cots.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, we're working on that.
Well, think about this morning. So this would have been a perfect day to have a cot. Yesterday would have been perfect to have at the pool. You have a cot there. You're like, you know what? I'm off on Monday. I'm not even going to go back up to the room. I'm just going to stay down here at the pool. And then you could just sleep in the cot, wake up, and then it's like Sunday all over. Then you're just ready to go again. Yeah. So we're going to figure out a way to make that happen as well. Friends, welcome back in. We appreciate you today for joining us here on a Monday as we celebrate all good things happening here in our community. We wouldn't be here on a Monday without our friends from Walker County Federal Credit Union. And just like Chris Brown from Jump Around Moonwalks earlier saying, you know what, seeing Karen this morning has reminded me I need to go open up an account at WCFCU. So maybe you're in search of a new bank. But you know what I love? It's not a bank. I don't feel like it's a bank when I walk into Walker County Federal Credit Union. I was trying to say WCFCU. I will say this. I was a little disappointed when I came in last week, though. And I've never been disappointed when I've walked in because y'all give such great service. It wasn't because of the service. In fact, it was because of too good of service. It's because Ruthie was back. This poor lady
gave you some false hope, or
poor Ruthie.
I think she's retired 14 times now.
She's retired, and it's like that song that, and I don't want to say cat, but because cats are okay. There's Irma, by the way. Good morning, Irma. She's you know what she wants from us? We instituted something here. You guys weren't a part of this. Let me finish my thought because the fireworks going off. Irma came by. It's like that kid's song, The Cat Came Back the Very Next Day. Have you ever heard that? Oh, the cat came back the very next day. Thought he was a goner, but the cat came back. He just wouldn't stay away. Give me a meow. Karen likes this song.
I've never heard these words.
But Karen, this is cat lady over here. She loves this. Give me a meow. Meow. You never heard of this song, Karen?
I have not.
Come on, man. I'm going to get this for you as a gift, and I think you're going to play it every night. Denise, do you know this song?
I don't know this song.
Oh, my goodness. I thought I'm outnumbered. I thought you knew it, Denise. It's a children's. Does anyone know the children's song, The Cat Came Back? And the best part of that song was the cat came back the very next day. We thought he was a goner, but the cat came back. He just wouldn't stay away. And then the best line of it, give me a meow. Meow. It's time to shut this
Okay. Moving right along.
It's time to shut this show down. Well, Irma drove by, and I was not ready this morning. And look, friends, I encourage you, make sure that you pay attention while you're driving. You know, Irma, it's a good road out here. You know, folks want to drive by. We always get a few honks and waves. Just pay attention to the road. But we introduced something, and watch it not work now. See, look, we introduced, I still got like my sports stuff up on the screen. Let me pull this down real quick here. We introduced something last week. And this is why I introduced it, because I was using it for my sports broadcasting. But we introduced the remote cam. And so when people drive by now.
Nice.
You see
We
this?
could have seen her because she does drive by like she's in a parade.
I could have literally like zoomed in on Irma as she was driving
We'll
by.
have to remember to do that next week.
Let's see.
Yeah, just with my phone.
We got to start paying attention by like 7:50.
We did a special for Billy. Billy from Sam Houston Memorial Funeral Homes with us every Friday. Well, he always wears jeans, and I don't think that's supposed to be known. It's kind of an ongoing joke. He's like, don't, and he says it on the air, so I know it's okay. He's like, don't tell Greg I'm wearing jeans today. Well, he shows up Friday with khakis on.
I watched that. I saw he had his boots and his brown khakis. Yeah.
And you know how that camera happened? You know how we got that angle? Because of the remote cell phone cam. So we got Billy's khakis and boots on the other day. So, you know, I have no idea what was going on there, but the new remote cam is set up. And then it really what started it was I wanted to make sure we had something for New Waverly football broadcast. But Rick and Kay had drove by, and we actually got them, I think, on the second. They drove by like 3 times. So, you know, if we keep the show going long enough, before too long, we're going to have, you know, maybe 4 people drive by instead of just 2.
We may start having a weekly parade.
A parade of
in the
folks
mornings.
going by.
Yeah.
Well, friends, we're looking back today, reflecting on our country. And again, if you have thoughts, let us know out there. We don't mind sharing those this morning. If you'd like to just publicly share what you remember, where you were at 22 years ago, please share that with us and let us know this morning if you'd like to. And some of that, I think, can be some of the encouragement for other folks out there. And just it's a moment to reflect and to go back and to look back and really to be thankful for what we have here today. And like we said earlier, hug your kids tight, hug your family, let them know you love them. Those are all very, very important things as we continue to just grow and develop. One thing that I was going to say as we kind of look back on this day, my boss at the time where I was at in high school, she was actually in New York. She had taken a vacation. Mm-hmm. She was in New York. She was going to go visit the World Trade Center towers on Tuesday. Mm-hmm. Something came up that had to accelerate her vacation schedule, and she went Monday morning.
Thank God for that.
I mean, can you just imagine? And she came back and she said, you know, just like we were talking earlier about how we went out to eat and people kind of felt guilty that they were eating that night at a restaurant. Mm-hmm. Remember her saying, you know, I feel guilty. Like, why? And it's almost kind of like that, what do they call it? Survivor's guilt. Mm-hmm. It's almost like that survivor's guilt of, well, you know, why me? Why am I still here whenever someone else didn't? Mm-hmm. We're going to have a guest on this show. And, folks, you are going to have to absolutely be a part of this show. And I need to go back and look and see when he scheduled it. But there was a very tragic plane accident years ago on United Flight 232. This was a flight, I mean, and there's video of it. And this was back in I believe it was the late 80s. Well, this plane had crashed upon landing. Like the wing had got stuck. They knew that they were going to come in hard. I mean, there was several hundred people on this flight. It was one of the worst airline accidents in United's history, United Flight 232. But I was broadcasting. It's kind of crazy how, things in the world, if you talk, and this is why it's don't just talk to people, because you never know. This guy sitting next to me, we started talking. Well, he tells me, yeah, I used to broadcast for the Minnesota Timberwolves and the NBA. I was at NDSU, and we were playing University, I think it was Northern Colorado. Well, this guy was broadcasting college basketball. I was sitting right next to him. We were at a tournament in New Mexico. And we started chatting, and he goes, yeah, he's just so humble. He goes, oh, yeah, I call it just real nonchalantly. Oh, yeah, I'm the voice of the Colorado Rockies. And then just went on talking about something else. Like, wait a minute, that's like the Major League Baseball team.
Yeah.
And so I went back, and he didn't mention anything. I went back and Googled his name. United Flight 232 was the first thing that came up. And I was like, my goodness, he was in that plane crash.
Wow.
Well, I would find out that he has a show that we're going to start airing on Spirit Radio here very soon called Amazing Americans. And what he does is he interviews once a week. He finds somebody, it's kind of sports related somehow, but he'll find people and just highlight the good that they've done in their lives. Jerry lived there where Columbine High School, the tragedy happened. He lived in that community. He was there. And so he had the coach of that event that was on his show. And the reason I brought up Jerry is because he has agreed to come on this show here in a couple of weeks and tell his story. And I want folks to be a part of that, just like every show, but it just gives you a different perspective. And we don't dig in too deep. And I've actually had him on once somewhere else when I was up in North Dakota. I asked him to call in, and we had a 20-minute special with him. But I don't dig really deep, obviously, into the crap. But he's written a book about it, and he's open about talking about it. But he suffered from survivor's guilt because so many lives were lost on that. And in fact, everybody around him, and he's mentioned this, it's in his book, everybody around him passed away. The commissioner of a league. See, there was a commissioner of a basketball league. Jerry was like the co-commissioner. Well, the commissioner of that league was sitting next to him, passed away. When that plane had broken, it literally broke apart. And I'll let Jerry tell the full story, but they heard a baby crying after the plane, and Jerry's like, I got to go back. You don't do it to be a hero. You do it because that's what you do. If you're driving down the road and you see a child or you see anybody, you're going to stop and help them. And he hears, and keep in mind, the plane had broke apart, flipped upside down, was in flames. He hears a baby crying. And I believe the way that it was kind of described was, found the baby in the luggage. The baby came out of the seat and got closed in where the luggage is, saved the baby's life.
Wow.
And he rescued that little girl. And unfortunately, though, almost 20 years later, that young girl had taken her life.
Oh, gosh.
But you think about a gentleman that was part of that accident and then, rescuing this child, and the child later on, just a lot of things. But he has chosen to say, you know what, God put me here on this earth for a reason. And he is making such a positive difference. And he's calling baseball games. You'd never know his story behind the scenes. But he's open about it. And I say behind the scenes, he does talk about it, but he has done so much with his life. And that's, I guess, kind of why we got into that survivor's guilt, because he had that. And it took a while for him to overcome that. And so maybe you're in a situation today. It could even be maybe a domestic violence issue going on in your family. And you're wondering, maybe somebody in your family's been lost to something tragic like that. And I've heard tragic stories of families growing up, and where like a sister's no longer here, but the brother's still here. And the brother's saying, why am I still here and my sister didn't make it? So maybe, that's going to be some inspiration for some folks out there that say, you know what, I'm going through a similar situation. Jerry's going to tell his story, and it's going to be a really eye-opening show here in a couple of weeks. So you want to make sure that you stay locked in here on Good Morning Huntsville. So,
absolutely.
Well, friends, we are going to step aside. We'll take a break, and we're going to lift things up when we come back this morning. Continue to share your stories with us today. Let us know what you're thankful for as you're chiming in. We do have the keyword up, and you know what? We got this thing going right in the middle. This week's keyword, and Karen had a great idea in honor of this week in 9/11 as we look back. This week's keyword is remember, or as they say up in Fargo, remember.
Yeah.
So Jerica's joining us. I had to throw that in, Jerica. It's an inside joke. There was a commercial that was always on the radio, and this guy was from some seed company. It's like, remember, our seed's the best seed, but it was just the way he said remember. So all of us at the station would always joke around. But the keyword this week is remember, and you can text that to 936-339-0139. Again, keyword remember on the Granny Mary's Cajun Asian Cuisine text line at 936-339-0139. Got a $25 gift card that we'll be giving away here today. Again, remember
remember.
So Lisa, here, look, Lisa's joining us. Lisa, here's the emotional connection. It's because we're talking about the way the word remember said. So I'm not going to forget the keyword remember.
Remember.
Denise has it down.
As in, don't forget.
Don't forget. So
That's Texas.
That's Texas. But we'll step aside. We'll take a break, friends. More to come as we wrap it up on our final segment. Stay with us. We'll be calling that winner, too. So remember to text in the keyword. We'll be right back after this.
At Tomorrow's Promise Montessori Schools in Huntsville. Established in 1997 by Kay Boning, our award-winning center merges Christian values with 25 years of Montessori excellence, promoting wonder and discovery in every child. As the only Montessori school within 45 miles, we provide a fun and friendly environment, individualized Montessori methods, and love and care as if each child were our own. Safety is a priority, and with a recent $50,000 investment, our facilities inspire growth, creativity, and learning. Plus, as a nonprofit, we open Montessori doors to families of all economic backgrounds. Partner with the community pillar where every child's promise shines bright. Discover Tomorrow's Promise Montessori Schools today. Visit tpms.life. That's tpms.life. There's a place in Huntsville and now in Conroe where you're more than a customer, you're part of the family. A place where style meets comfort and every visit feels like a treat. Welcome to the Color Bar Hair Salon. From the moment you walk in, our friendly stylists work to create a look that's perfect for you. Whether it's a fresh cut, a vibrant new color, or a blowout for that special occasion, at the Color Bar, we've got you covered. We pride ourselves on creating an environment where our guests can relax, enjoy a beverage, and let us do the pampering. We use top-notch products like Kevin Murphy and Orby, and even offer Valami hair extensions for those looking to add a little extra flair. And when it's got to be perfect, we ensure you leave looking and feeling your best self. But don't just take our word for it. Book a reservation or buy a gift card online and experience it firsthand. Visit us online at colorbartx.com and discover why at the Color Bar Hair Salon you get an experience that goes beyond. The Color Bar, where you belong. See you soon.
When you live and work in the town where you were born and raised, lots of people become just like family. I'm Billy Cawthon, manager of Sam Houston Memorial Funeral Home. Over the years, we've shared a lot of good times and some tough times, and I'm honored to be the one you call on in your time of need. At Sam Houston Memorial Funeral Home, our goal is to help our neighbors in need and always provide the most outstanding service available, even on those really tough days. I thank you for your trust in us. At Sam Houston Memorial Funeral Home, we're here for you.
All right, back at it here. Denise was picking up what I was putting down here on this music.
Oh, yeah.
It's one of the best phrases I ever heard from a pastor back in the day. Is he goes, "Are you picking up what I'm putting down?"
That's what I'm putting down.
And and it was a guy. It was another. It's like the Louisiana preachers are some of the best. You ever heard like a Cajun Louisiana?
I have not.
Oh man,
but I can only imagine.
Yeah.
That'd be a good sermon to listen to.
It's where we literally came up with the phrase. A good friend of mine, Joshua Harris, I mentioned him earlier with Oak Ridge. He said, we always say, "Get on down here and get the rest of it." And it's just kind of a, a little inside joke. Like if we're doing something like, hey, man, it was a great, like UT beat Alabama. I don't know. Are you guys like UT fans? I'm not really a huge UT fan.
Oh, you Boomer Soomer?
Okay. Well, are you a big college, fan of any of them?
No.
I love to hear
No. Nope.
Well, long story short, UT is a pretty big win for them. They lost by one last year on their home turf there in Austin. Well, they go to Tuscaloosa and they beat Alabama pretty convincingly yesterday. So Josh and I were texted, and the phrase came out, UT won. He's like, "Get on down here and get the rest of it." Well, that came from a Louisiana preacher. And I told the story before on the show that there was one of these revival type, things that you go to at night. And apparently this Cajun preacher was there, and some guy had got healed and had one of these white shirts on that wasn't long enough and had a belly that was very hairy. And so the preacher literally says, he goes, "Get your old hairy belly down here and get the rest of it." And that's where the phrase came from. So he had an altar call, and that's what "get on down here and get the rest of it" meant, was get the rest of the blessing on the altar call. Oh, man.
And go get you a bigger shirt.
That's right. Go get you a bigger shirt as well.
The rest of your shirt.
Cover that up.
Get the rest of the shirt, too. So, hey, we have a little something that Karen had pointed out, and so we're just going to turn
Actually, Denise caught it.
Okay. Denise caught it. All right. Denise caught it. Karen talked about it. You ladies had told me about it. I had no idea. Mm-hmm. So maybe we'll just turn this into something on the show.
Yeah.
There is something on the show that's not right. It's like that.
It's not us.
And it's not me.
Yes.
Although I'm not either, probably.
Don't point this out.
It's nothing to do with people, although I know you guys are already saying, maybe some of y'all. There's something that's been going on for a month on the show that it's like, oh boy, that just ain't right. There's something that's not just right.
We need to get the rest of it.
Yeah, we need
get
to
on down here and get the rest of it.
You need to get on down here and get the rest of it. We are going to have some sort of a special giveaway for this. The only hint that I will say is you should have paid attention. You should have paid attention.
Can't give too much away.
Is that like a good hint? You should
I think so.
Yeah, should have paid attention is the hint, and that is all you're ever going to, because I'm not giving you the rest of it.
No, it's a good Easter egg.
Yeah, it's a really, really good Easter egg that is hidden on this show. Could it be in the brick? Maybe. Could it be hidden in the brick? Possibly.
Yep.
Maybe not. Could it be something to do with Sam Houston statue?
Maybe.
Could be. By the way, welcome back, buddy. Did y'all know he was injured for a while?
Oh, yeah, I did.
Oh, did he break a leg?
He broke everything.
You broke a lot.
And then somebody had noticed when I re-glued him, he's kind of leaning back.
He is. Looks like he's fixing to fall
got
over.
a bit of lean to it.
It's like the cane is actually pushing him.
Laid back.
He's on my mind, on my money,
There
on
you
my
go.
money, on my mind.
He knew what I meant.
He's got a little swag to him. So it's definitely not Sam Houston, although he fell off the table and broke. And my friends at the visitor center would have been very upset if I didn't get him fixed. So I literally, I went to the store. I bought some super glue to fix Sam, and he is fixed, although he's kind of leaning back. Is it something with Sam? No, I will say that. But could it be something with the Elliott's Jewelers coffee mug? Possibly.
Maybe.
So you know what my brother always says, for me to know and you to find out. Yeah. So there's something going on, and start thinking about it. And we're going to have to give away some sort of a special prize. I mean, I'm thinking maybe a mega prize, some sort of a really lucrative. Maybe I go down to 1836 and say, guys, can you hook me up with a couple of dinners here? And something nice that we're going to give away.
Okay.
And so anyways, keep watching every day. And until somebody gets it, things aren't going to change around here.
Okay.
There's your other hint.
You got to keep watching.
Yeah, you got to keep watching. And that's kind of how things will go. Hey, favorite night coming up tonight.
Trivia night.
What's going on? What's up with the trivia night tonight?
It's our Monday trivia every night, 6:30, Rodeo Bar and Grill. I'd get there early, though, about 5:45 to 6 if you can, because it gets pretty full.
Do you ever get to places really early and you're trying to set up, and then people come talk to you and you're like, I've got to be nice, but I also need to get all this set up.
Oh yeah, yeah, that happens, but that's okay.
That's happened. That's happened here on this show where I roll in at like 6:30. We've had a lot of wonderful guests on the show, and I love our guests. But you don't. When we have guests, besides our co-hosts, you don't have to come on until 7:15. We do that for a reason. We like for you to be here around 7:10. I specifically say 7:10 for a reason. I'm out here one morning. Some dude's like waiting at 6:30, and I was like, "Bro, come on, man! I'm like waiting at the door." It reminded me, and it's all good. I say it in fun, but I will say this: when I had my IT company, I don't know if y'all have experienced the credit union, but man, when I had my IT company, it was almost like waiting in line to get a haircut. People, and I guess it was a sign of good business. We had great customer service, so I was thankful that people were there. But my techs would get so annoyed because they would come in and like flip the lights on, and they would usually come in like 30 minutes early to get things prepared and all that. And it was so cool. I didn't have to tell them to do that. They just did it because I had such great employees. But they come in, they're like, Rob, we can't turn on the lights anymore. I was like, why? Every time we do, we start hearing the door. Like when the door's like, people lined up every single morning, and they were and you couldn't leave them out there because they were holding their computers. Man, what are you going to do? Like leave them waiting outside?
Go sit in your car until the doors are open.
We have members.
Yeah, we have members that do that too.
They get there.
Or that start calling it, 7 in the morning sometimes.
But what do? You want to be nice. It's like I try to be, my biggest thing now, especially with 2 children, is, I want to define, I don't say this like in a prideful way or anything like that, but it's like I want to define what my life looks like. Now, I know that sounds kind of, God defines what our lives ultimately happen, but there's things in my heart, let me put it like this, there's things in my heart that I want to happen in my life. One of those is I want to be there for my children. When I'm done at the end of I come in, I get up at 5. I try to get in here about 6:40 or so. So you're like, well, you get up 5, 6. It takes me a while to get going in the morning.
I understand that, especially on a Monday.
but what I'm getting at is like I want to define I want to be there for my children. One day my children are going to be playing t-ball, or they're going to be playing. Braylon may be a cheerleader. She may be playing volleyball. My son, getting prepared right now at 8 weeks old, getting prepared to be an NFL superstar. I want to be there for him. And so you got to speak those things to happen. I need you, son. I need you because daddy needs some help.
Yeah.
But
take care of Papa.
all joking aside, is like I want to kind of dictate what my afternoons look like. Well, I'm trying to be very serious about like the weekends not conducting any business, and it's really tough. Because people have like urgent requests, and I'm just like, man, it's the weekend. I'm trying to spend time with my family, and so, and I think people. I've learned this in life. People, I think, will respect that. You think, because I know Karen, you want to help people. Denise, you want to help people, and I know, like in my heart, sometimes I'm like, man, I really I don't want this person to be mad at me, and then if I don't respond to them, but I've learned that they're not going to be mad at you. Just straight up, you got to set the bound. It's like with your children, you got to set boundaries.
That's right.
I'm not going to be answering my phone after 5:30 every evening. Sorry, just because I got I want to spend time with my children. 5:30 through the rest of the night. I'm not calling you back. I love you, but you're not getting a call back. Saturday or Sunday, not getting a call back for the most part. It's just kind of pick or choose on some of those though. But just think about that, and what do you want your life to look like, and set boundaries. And it's tough. But realize that if you set boundaries and you explain to people why, Monday morning, well, I try to get a hold of you all weekend. Hey, man, appreciate you reaching out to me, but I have children. I wanted to spend some time with the family. And you just straight up tell them, I kind of got a policy, and I've made it with my children, and I've made it with my wife that, I'm not going to be calling people back for business over the weekend.
Yeah, I have a Sunday pool policy.
Yeah.
That's very strict.
Very strict.
It's like, that's that SPP is what we call that. We're going to make T-shirts that say, there's another T-shirt idea that we're going to sell here on Hello Huntsville. I'm going to have to give you royalties. It's going to be SPP, Sunday Pool Policy. What is it? No, Sunday Pool Policy.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Sunday Pool Policy. Is that what you said?
That's what she said.
Because of the Sunday pool party. I got that SPP with that SPP.
We're down with SPP.
You know that.
Yeah, you know me.
Yeah, there you go. That's what yeah, you know me. Oh, man, we better shut this down. We got to go to work, unfortunately. So we're going to pull up our phone line here. And we do have a winner today, $25 card that is going to be going to somebody. And here we go. You want to handle this one, Denise?
No.
Hello.
Hello. Hello. Hello. How you doing?
Hello.
Who this is?
Madison Brown.
MB. What up? What you doing? Or they say down here in East Texas, what you doing? How you doing?
Just got home from school drop off.
School. Oh,
How you momming him?
Got that school drop off. So shout out to all the mamas out there with the school drop offs. That is, man, I can't wait for that day with my children when I get to drop them off. I can't wait, Madison Brown. Have you ever won on this show before, Madison Brown? MB?
No.
MB.
No.
For some reason, we started like feeling like rappish in here because we were talking about SPP. You know me. I don't know what happened, Madison. So, well, congratulations. You are the winner today of a $25 gift card. Thanks for texting in the word remember. Madison, how'd you find out about the show?
Chris Brown.
CB. MB.
Oh, CB.
Yeah. Oh, duh. Come on, Matt.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. I'm assuming the better half of Chris on the phone. Hey, Madison, I'm sorry, Madison. Sometimes, this is why I'm going to Learning RX with Lisa Branch, because the dots aren't connected.
Hey, you're good.
So, well, hey, congratulations. We appreciate it. I loved having Chris on last week, by the way, as well. So, thanks for allowing him to spend a little time with us. You guys are a beautiful family. Got a great business there with Jump Around Moonwalks. What are you most thankful for here in Huntsville?
The community. For sure, the community that helps run our business.
Love it. Well, there she is, Madison Brown, joining us, MB from a little CB on an SPP. All right, Madison. Hey, have a blessed day. Thanks for watching this morning.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye. We're having too much fun. See, this is what happens. It's like, oh, it's Monday. Then by the time we leave, we don't even want to get off the air because we don't want to go to work.
Yeah.
So
You're right about that.
but Chris is coming by to set up an account, so we're good to go. So we got to get to work. But well, friends, it's been a fun one today. I know as we look back and reflect this morning, and so thanks to everybody for being a part of the show. And just think about it as you go on throughout this week. We will have all week long. That keyword up there on the Granny Mary's Cajun Asian Cuisine text line at 936-339-0139. So if you didn't win today, but you didn't text in, go ahead and text in now. You could possibly win again tomorrow. You can text in every day. And what's the gift going to be tomorrow? I have no idea.
We won't know until it happens.
Yeah, it's for me to know and for you to find out. So. But that'll wrap it up. It'll be a fun one here. Jennifer Augustinetti. By the way, Jennifer, thanks. She went to the Sam Houston. Sam Houston losing a tough one versus Air Force last Saturday night. You guys didn't get to go to that, did you?
No.
I was in Kingsville, Texas. And I don't know if I want to publicly say this or not. I'm going to say this. Let me say it like this. Probably one of the most fun broadcasts I've ever had in my life. For a Division II program, it was unbelievable. 10,500 fans filled Javelina Stadium. Is it Javelina or Javelina? Javelina?
I don't know. They say.
I think it's Javelina.
Javelina. I didn't even realize Javelina is like an angry hog. Like you don't mess with a Javelina. And 10,500 people. There's some things there that I want to bring back here. Like a community of 22,000 people, only 8,000 students, and they had 10,500 at a Division II football game, the most that they've had in almost a decade. And what was so cool is the tailgate. They had a covered stage with a live band actually playing legitimate fun music.
Wow.
Like Margarita Monday type music that you would have enjoyed.
All right.
So, I'm going to ask them to come over down here and get the rest of it.
Come on down here.
All right, well, that'll wrap it up. Friends, appreciate everybody joining us here today. Javelina's good eating. I don't know if I'd want to eat them Javelinas, though, Santa George, because they are angry. But it was a lot of fun. Tomorrow, Terry Coleman hopping on the show with us, so we're excited to have her. Wednesday, Elizabeth Floor hopping on the show. We've got more guests throughout the week, including Tara Burnett on Friday. So we've got a jam-packed house. Still do have some opportunities. We'd always love for you to be a part of the show. You can just email us at hello@HuntsvilleTX.com. Ladies, thank y'all for being here.
Thank you.
Always a wonderful joy to have y'all. A wonderful joy to have you on the show. I feel like singing. I hate to see you go.
Meow.
All right. That'll wrap it up here with a final meow as we celebrate all things good. Friends, get out there, make a difference. Enjoy the cool morning. Go on a walk. Show up late to work, but don't tell them I told you to. And because I don't want to be the reason you get fired. So actually go to work. Until next time, friends, as I end every show, I want to remind you this morning that we are not strong enough alone to make it on our own. We do need each other. Provide a word of encouragement. Lend a hand of support. Somebody out there needs you. Until next time, good morning and God bless. We'll see you, friends.